Okay, so today is day 96 of being housed. It is Wednesday, November the 19th, 2025. Okay, so I have there's a program, and it helps Canadian citizens. I believe it's exclusive to Canadian citizens. I could be incorrect. I am a Canadian citizen, so this one's applicable to me. But they help citizens that are either struggling with gaining job or employment, or they've been laid off for an extended period of time, or if they're on social assistance. So there's different circumstances that will qualify you, and what they do is they can offer a little bit of funding to help improve your job search, but also your skills, so your hireability in our surrounding community, and so it's quite nice. So I'm working with I believe you'd call her an intake worker, and I cannot express how kind and wonderful she's been, and she's actually she knows where I'm currently working as an outreach worker with the vulnerable population, or the unhoused population, and she's been so caring, and she's really expressed her interest in wanting to help those that are most in need, and she was saying last time I talked to her that how are you? She was saying how she hey, are you coming on sorry about that, it's just talking with a friend, but yeah, she's very caring, and she's really reached out, just in the sense of she made a comment. She said, oh goodness, she's like, my desire, she's like, I know it's a wish, but it's just to see everybody set free from the things that they're dealing with, and just return to their families, away from all the substance abuse, and just living a healthy life, and just virtually just seeing them all set free. And it was wonderful because I got to talk about God, and how I've seen God set people free from all spiritual darkness and all bondage, and even from being codependent, from it's not just substance abuse, but codependency, addictions to whether it be gambling, addictions to pornography, addictions to gossip, addictions to slander, all addictions. And I didn't get this in depth, but I was thinking about how the fear of the Lord has to be present, and but also too how I see very little fear of the Lord in most of the places where people are proclaiming the name of Jesus, and that's a major problem. But anyways, so it's been wonderful talking with her. It's been quite the blessing, and I find her compassion is it's just wonderful to experience. It's wonderful to be privy to, and I'm really happy too for this, not just for this opportunity to go back to school, and to have the funding and to have the support to go back to school is beyond wonderful, and it really helps a lot. And even just in the sense of, it inspires a lot of hope, because you realize, okay, this is where I'm currently at, but it's not necessarily where I want to be. But going back to school is a bridge from where I am to where I desire to be, or at least a side where I desire to be. And there's going to be other barriers and obstacles, and but this really this can help exponentially. And I also think too, it's quite wonderful having the mind frame that I currently have. All the things I've been doing, especially since being on the precipice of a crisis or of being unhoused. I've just been focusing on the routine, a very solid and productive routine that points to vitality. And I've been focused on like even going to the quiet pod and just focusing on increased durations of optimized focus. So virtually what I'm describing is the opposite of what the world would call as ADHD, which is the direction that I'm heading. The increased optimized focus is the direction I'm heading. But like that, I can see now from this perspective, when I started doing these things, and it was working like on the planes and people watching manuscript, I would just talk about how everything is an investment into tomorrow, and every weakness that is exposed today, if you're not offended, that is the most wonderful investment, because it's through our insecurities or our weaknesses that we get offended, and then it's in our state of offense where we lash out and we make terrible choices, or we act in a way that is not characteristic of who we are and who we're called to be. And then I find it can be like a sinking stone, potentially a sinking stone, moving forward. And so there's so many good things for me to learn and to garner, and I'm really happy and excited, and I have confidence with going back to school, not in my abilities, because there's different programs. I'm open to anything. I'm open to all kinds of change. I just, and I've done my research, and I've talked to folks in the industry, folks that were kind enough to provide me with some time for them to share their perspective, a day in the life, a year in the life of what they do, their perspective on whether these jobs or whether that role or whether this training is going to be phased out in the next decade or foreseeable future, or whether there's an increasing demand for it, and then to provide like their insight into what do you see in terms of industry as being subjects to study to obtain gainful employment. So a lot of really good information, and so I'm open to trying something new. I'm open to going in a different career direction, and I find that, like all things, the confidence that I have in doing so has everything to do with preparation. And my preparation, something as seemingly minuscule and minor as ensuring that I keep, writing the and doing the revisions and the editing for the planes and people watching manuscript, and then going to the library, finding a public resource that is suitable to help me in that direction and to encourage my growth in that direction, and then the continuance of it when I'm there, focusing in and knowing the vision, knowing that I'm there for a specific reason, and then increasing the threshold of I sort of glass bottle break, increasing the threshold of my optimized focus. It's interesting how that seamlessly, like if there was any fear or apprehension about going back to school or going into a new program and studying something new, I just realized that everything is just like everything else that I've already learned. It's going to be, when it's before I know it, I don't know it, and before it's familiar, it's unfamiliar. But it's just a matter of getting acclimated. It's a matter of exposure, but it's also a matter of having that focus that provides more than a cursory understanding, but a comprehensive understanding. And then once you have that comprehensive understanding, once you start going a little deeper and deeper, you have more of an understanding, more information, more of the terminology to chew on the heavier things, and to receive a little more insight, and a little more insight, and the more insight you receive, the greater the capacity you have to receive deeper and greater amounts of insight. And but it all surrounds keeping this as a priority, and also optimizing your time. And I like thinking about somebody going to the gym, and say they go to the gym and they didn't do a lot of research. They haven't gone through the trial and error. They don't really know their own body. They don't really know their own diet. They don't understand the correlation between rest and repair. And so they go to the gym and they spend 3 hours in the gym because they hear other people talking about how they spend an hour to an hour and a half in the gym, and they figure, okay, I'll just double that duration, and then I'm going to get double the results, or I'm going to duplicate their results. So they're there for 3 hours every day, but they don't know proper form. They don't know how to isolate the muscles that they're working on. They don't understand what each routine or each exercise, the muscles that they correspond to, the muscles that they're intended to target. They don't understand all these things. They don't understand proper nutrition. So they go there and they invest the time, but they don't invest the effort, nor do they, and they also do not invest the proper skill. And 1 second, just gonna pause this. So they can have that duration, but it's not profitable because the time that's spent there is it's lacking. It's the person who actually goes in and they realize, and they're comfortable with humbling themselves to admit their current state, to admit the state of their body, to admit the state of their mind, to admit the state of their understanding, to admit the state of their emotions, to admit the state of their diet, to admit the state of their sleep schedule. If they go in and they just invest, say, 15 or 20 minutes talking to people that are where they desire to be and are fully disciplined and unshakable, like they're not just disciplined, but they've been disciplined for long durations of time. It's not just a flash in the pan. And they have them just show them, this is the exercise to, say, for your triceps, to build your triceps, and this is the form, and you want to keep your elbows in, and at the end I like to squeeze at the end, and you can really feel it. But when you're going through this range, it's also wise to do negatives. So when you're resetting, do it slowly, so like that resistance is still on that muscle, but you should feel that muscle straining and working. And you do this all the way until that you feel that muscle rip. So you always want to push past and exceed your previously set limitations, and then that person can listen to it, and they can practice that one movement, a whole bunch of times, and then they leave. That person's actually going to have more success than the person who initially invests the 3 hours or the 2.5 hours in the gym every day, because that person is actually seeking not just knowledge but understanding, and they can build off that. It's like having a solid foundation and then building brick by brick by brick. So anyway, so I share all that to just to provide insight into when I'm at the library at the Quiet Pod, and I'm focusing on it's an intentional focus, but on optimizing my focus for longer durations, and I'm keeping an eye on the time just to pay attention to how long can I focus in with a comprehensive focus where I'm actually being very productive and I'm learning and I'm virtually in the zone before I start to fade away, before my thoughts start to grow a little weary, before I feel like mental fatigue, before I start to desire distractions, and it's really like those would be exemplary of somebody going in and just learning one exercise over and over again. You can always increase the weight, you can always increase the reps, you can always increase the sets, but you want to have a solid foundation, and so that foundation is going to be applicable for everything. And by the concept behind that foundation is applicable for everything. It's the same thing when I'm at work. It's important that I focus on God's peace within me, and I don't allow the external circumstances around me to have influence over God's peace within me. And so it's imperative that I'm very not just disciplined, but I pay attention to, okay, what are the external and the extenuating circumstances that cause me to lose a little bit of focus or lose a little bit of God's peace while I'm here. And then I can learn, I can take inventory of these things, I can have a deeper level of understanding, so I can always come back as a more improved or better version of myself. And I find it's always wise to note that success is a summation of, what do they call that? The incremental movements in that direction. So once you have your vision, once you know the location where you desire to be, that's the main thing. And then now you can apply understanding, and success is every inch you move, or every centimeter you move, or every millimeter you move in that direction is in effect success, because the goal is to get to the vision or the destination. So that's a really, really long way to say that my confidence, first and foremost, is in the Lord, and God's the one that teaches me these things, and I work as unto the Lord when doing these things. So He's the one that provides me with the ability, and I'll do it always to His glory and for His name's sake. And but these things are intentional. Everything's intentional. And going through a period of being housed, going through a period of a crisis period, going through one of the worst times of my life was wonderful, because it reveals to me how I'm going to either react or respond when all the chips are down. What am I going to trust? What am I going to rely on when all my chips are down? Virtually, it reveals to me what I reach for when I'm at the end of myself, and or what I stand on when everything has crumbled beneath me. So these are very, very valuable times to focus on the foundation and ensure that the foundation is solid, ensure that the foundation is built upon Jesus Christ, ensure that the foundation is built upon the commands of Jesus, ensure that the vision is the kingdom of God and the purpose that God has ordained for my life, and the office that God has called me to operate within His body. So these are wonderful things, but they're humble beginnings, and it's one of the most wise things to do that I've learned, and it's extremely difficult, is you never want to despise small beginnings. In fact, you want to be joyful about small beginnings and be very patient and very long-suffering and very enduring with small beginnings, and not allow your mind to rush ahead and your mind to desire to be rich, your mind to desire to have all this, worldly success, your mind to desire to have everything that, you pray to God for in front of you right now, but to be patient and patiently endure, and then learn the lessons from each of these things. Be very, kind of like, I always use the example of somebody in the Klondikes, using the classifiers to separate the things that are going to be tossed back in the dirt from the minerals or the gold that's of value, but to be very prudent with it, to be very and by prudent I mean to have a sincere focus, and virtually the way you approach it is an approach that inspires and will conclude with success. So take your time with it, and learn and understand all the things that try to shake your focus and try to dominate you with worries, or try to distract you with the riches, and then to remain in the middle of the narrow path, fully abiding in his love, joy, and peace. I'm where I was going, and I say God bless you to each and every one of you.